What's up, guys? Welcome back, man, to another edition of Sim Standard Radio, Sim Standard Hangout, whatever you want to call it. I was about to say Terrible Towel Tuesday. That's funny. I'm so stuck in saying that. But yeah, welcome back, guys. And as you're going to see me looking at you and looking down and looking at you and looking down. I finally got a webcam, guys, and you probably can tell the clarity is a little better, but it's higher than the computer. So I got to kind of figure this out, you know. I have it on a little tripod. I didn't want to attach it to the computer because I minimize the shaking and things like that. So forgive me, guys, if I'm looking like this. Y'all know why? Because I'm either looking at Smitty while he's talking or whatever. One of you guys that may come on the show. But there you have it. But welcome, man. I hope everybody had a happy New Year and happy holidays. And as you can see, I'm pretty happy. I got my Steelers T-shirt on. That's going to be one of the topics, guys. We're going to talk about definitely the playoffs this weekend. You know, the Wildcard Weekend. We'll give our thoughts on the games, who will win and why. Then also, as you guys may have read in the topics, let me go ahead and get to them here myself. And sorry for the delay, guys. We just had a little bit of technical difficulty. So let me go ahead and get to them here. We're definitely going to dive deep into Madden. You know, I always ask you guys to provide us with some topics, and you guys came through. A lot of topics you guys want to discuss. You guys will recognize your topic as I read it off. And then before we jump into that, of course, guys, we're going to go around, you know, Smitty and myself, we'll just give you our quick thoughts on our week, our holiday, and whatever else we want to talk about. And I guess we'll kind of hold off on our teams because I'm sure we will address that when we do, you know, the NFL Wildcard Weekend segment. We'll do that first, get that out of the way, then we'll dive into Madden. So in regards to Madden, guys, and Smitty as well, I know he's seen them, but in this order, will we get to them all? Hopefully, maybe not. You never know. It's live. But you guys want to talk about the future of the franchise mode versus MUT. Shout outs to my guy Frisk. He knows who he is. You know, he gave us that topic. So we're kind of dive into that and give our thoughts on the future of CFM or franchise mode in general versus MUT. You know, as far as what we think will happen in the future. Will it still take a backseat to MUT, which is what some people think? Will it catch up? Will they be coexistent? Who knows? But we'll talk about that. Another guy wanted us to talk about the dime and dollar defense being the main defense that guys are going to. Particularly, you see this in the tourney crowd, and you're able to stop the run. So his question and all of that was, let's discuss, is it really replicating sim football when you can stay in those positions, or not positions, I'm sorry, formations, and stop the run? So we'll dive into that. Esports popularity and how it will affect the direction of the game. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was Charter 04's topic. Shout outs to him. We'll definitely dive into that. And some of these topics, you guys, we've talked about before. We don't have a problem, you know, regurgitating these topics, if you will. I mean, again, the more you talk about them, the more they become big tickets, the more they become priorities. So we'll probably say some things we said before. I know Smitty has covered that a ton in regards to the esports transition and things like that. So we'll definitely dive into that. And speaking of big ticket, shout out to my man Dez. Dez gave this topic. He said, what is the big ticket item that you want improved for Madden 18? Outside of gameplay was what he took. His approach was modes. He said modes specifically, so we'll, you know, dive into that. And I'm sure he'll comment exactly what he's referring to. But it could be gameplay. But just letting you know that Dez didn't go the gameplay route, so he wants to know what we feel and what some of you guys feel in the chat. What is the big ticket item? And I will caution you guys with this. Something realistic. You know, don't say the generic stuff that we always hear like, oh, I just want football in the game. Come on. Or you want a complete 180. Like, we still understand that it's year to year. So what is something that's a big ticket item that you feel they should be able to address in Madden 18? What is that main topic for you? All right, animations that need to be removed in the game. What are some of the animations that we still see that we want removed for the game or improved or what have you? There's an OS thread as well that a lot of guys are feeling, and we've said this a ton as well. Game had a more organic feel out the box versus how it plays now. So we'll dive into that a little bit as well. I'm sure you guys probably know what direction we're going to go with that. Hint, hint, mode, special mode. But we'll get into that. And then the last thing, the need for adding offensive and defensive coordinators to the game to make the game have a little more individuality, more strategic gameplay, more planning, things like that. So as you can see, guys, we have a ton to talk about. And like I said, hopefully we get to it all. Let me give you these guys an update as well, Smitty. Azure may or may not be on, guys. I don't know if you guys know, but Azure, I believe he's taking on another job, if I'm not mistaken. Like he has told you guys, he has baby number 3 on the way. So him and his wife are just getting themselves prepared for that. So there's going to be a lot of times that he may not be on with us, on these nights. I'm sure maybe in the future that he'll return, but, he's always here with us in spirit. If we're here, he's here. So you ain't got to worry about that. He's still very active in what he's doing, but Thursday nights are a rough one for him. Just like with me. As you can see, I'm sitting here behind this white wall. I'm no longer down in the man cave because guess what? My wife has her part-time job that she works from home, and guess where she works? Down in the man cave. So, hey, we're real people here, man. We got to make alterations, but even with that, we still try our best to bring the show to you guys each and every week. But without further ado, Smitty, let's dive into how was your week and how was your holiday. Then I'll give my thoughts on mine. Then we'll jump right into the topics.
Excuse me. Well, no, my week was good. Holiday was nice. Christmas was cool. New Year's was nice. Had family come in town and everything. So it was pretty nice. I had a good time. On the sports front, mainly on the football side of things, glad the Lions made the playoffs, but going on a 3-game skid, not really a good help. You know what I'm saying? So they got to go up against Seattle. Pretty much the whole state of Michigan has said the Lions ain't got a shot in the dark to win the game. So it's like whatever, whatever those guys do. I'm always optimistic on them boys, but it's football, man. Honestly, was not even supposed to be in this position. Before the season started, it was supposed to basically be like 6-10. Was like a lot of people were saying like if they win 6 games, that would be a good season. That would be a successful year. But to see these guys, they won 9, but honestly, they could have won it. They could have won 11 or 12. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, that says a lot about the coaching, and that's why I said before, Jim Bob Cooter, Terrell Lawson, them brothers putting in that work, making it happen. They huge.
Cooter.
Yeah.
Love that like name, huge. Man. That's my favorite name right now.
Yeah. Like, props to them cats, and Caldwell got an extension, much to the disliking and displeasure of a lot of Detroit fans here, which is absurd to me. They want him gone after he had 2 seasons of 2 out of 3 years of making it to the playoffs with the teams that he had. It's not like I'll just say this real quick. This is basically the tone of Detroit sports fans that, from listening on the radio and some Facebook groups I'm in and stuff like that, and just from talking with some friends and things like that, and such. You have some people that get it and they speak the real. But at the same time, you got a lot of people that act like we got the 2000 Baltimore Ravens defense and the 99 St. Louis Rams offense. Like, we're not that good. But people act like we're just supposed to be that spectacular no matter what the situation or circumstance. Like, we're just this Super Bowl winning team that we just need to fire our coaches in year 2 and stuff like that. All well out of here last year. You know what I'm saying? During the season at that. So it's like all of a sudden now it's like, oh yeah, now coach like, so it's like we got to be realistic with the team that we got, the talent we have, the guys that weren't even out there playing. We got to keep it 100 with all that. You know what I'm saying? And keep it real. So, real talk. going forward. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, am I cutting out? Okay. Some people saying they could hear me, but okay.
Yeah, it's cutting out on
Is it?
my end a little bit, which is weird.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it does that in the Hangout, and it might not do that on YouTube. You know what I mean? So that's why I always ask if it's happening for others, because I can see you and hear you, but
yeah,
it gets crazy sometimes.
All right, but no, that's pretty much what I was just gonna say. I was just saying that the Lions basically overachieved this season. I mean, even at this point, they overachieved. They were not supposed to be at this point where they are this year, and they are. So that to me is a big time accomplishment, and we'll just see what happens this Saturday. They do good, cool. If not, hopefully they at least compete. You know what I'm saying? And it's a competitive game. And then I'll take a look at I'll definitely do my little recap talking about these boys, depending upon what they do out there Saturday. So I'm just glad to see the Lions in the postseason again weekend. That's all I'm excited for. So I'm looking forward to it. But I'll throw it to you, Sim.
Yeah, man. Holidays were good. I can't complain about that. Had a great one. Great Christmas, great New Year's, family, and all of that. And hey, my team is in the playoffs. Y'all know how I've been feeling about them all year. So it's crazy that they actually made it. And when I'll segue into that, and we'll talk about the playoffs when I get to that. But other than that, everything has been good, man. One other thing I just wanted to mention real quick is just, why not do this live rather than a video? And I'll probably do a video as well, but definitely, guys, I want you guys to, be aware that I'm going to definitely start doing a lot more, get back into the YouTube thing like I was. I've been relatively slow. So just letting you guys know, I'm going to start doing a lot, and I'm going to stick to the things I know. I want to take this to another level, so to speak, because I enjoy doing it. But I'm going to stick to the things that I do, the Maddens and the 2Ks and stuff like that. And every now and then I might sprinkle some stuff in there, but the reason why I'm telling y'all this is because I know guys who really watch my channel. You've heard me so many times say, oh, I'm about to do FIFA and I'm about to do NHL. Simply put, I don't know those games like that. So maybe you'll catch me doing it in a stream, but to make actual videos and commentary on it's hard because I don't really know the rules. I'm definitely going to do some more Battlefield commentary. I think that is kind of lost in the community that we are in. There's others that do it, like your Westies and, people like my guy Jive Turkey. But I remember a time when, it used to be Shakedown, Jay Easy and NASA One, all of those type guys. And even Azure. And that is not really there no more. So I think I'm going to try to work that back in as well. But just letting y'all know what to expect. I'm going to be hitting it running this year, man. I mean, I just tweeted a little while ago. I'm tired of hearing your channel should be bigger. Tired of hearing that. So now I'm going to go after it. So I just thought I'd let you guys know that, man. And you can expect to see a lot more from myself and Smitty in terms of this show. I think, and I discussed it with Smitty briefly, and we'll discuss it some more. I think it's definitely time for us to incorporate more than just gaming. Like I said, talk about real world sports. We'll stay away from the political stuff unless it's necessary. If it's a real topic that we need to discuss, maybe. We don't want to kill you guys with that because I know you guys say this is your release. You don't want to hear the troubles of the world when you come here, but y'all know we're real individuals and we're going to speak on things that need to be spoken on, a tragic event or something like that. But I think it's definitely time to do that. And the reason why I say this, man, is because, let's face it, a game don't come out every week. And we can talk about Madden until we blue in the face, but we're definitely going to start repeating ourselves a lot because there's not so much we can talk about until the new product is out. So again, before we jump into the topics tonight, I want to empower you guys. Whatever topic y'all want us to talk about, let us know. We will talk about it. We'll even have you on. We could have a special show where it's 1 or 2 or 3 of you guys and we're just doing a panel-like show. Just let us know, but this is for you guys. Whatever you guys want. If you want to talk about Madden every week, hey, that's what y'all want, we'll do that. But again, we're going to try to, keep this going, man. And this is a place where the whole community can come together and just have a good time and discuss some real topics. So just wanted to give you guys those updates real quick. So sorry for the little, off base, I guess you would say, but now we're back on schedule. But all right, man, let's go ahead and get into it, Smitty. I'll start it off, man. And of course, most of us know as I'm looking at it here, we got the Raiders versus the Texans. We also got the Lions in Seattle. Then we got those Miami Dolphins coming into Heinz Field. And we got the New York Giants and the Packers. I'll go ahead and give you my thoughts on Pittsburgh and Miami, and then I'll briefly talk about the other teams, and then I'll throw it to Smitty. And want to see what you guys have to say as well in the chat. As far as Pittsburgh, y'all know how I feel. I've been saying it on Turbo Town Tuesday. I still don't think that Pittsburgh is a great team. No. Relatively good team at times. Above average team, yes. Now let me explain what I'm saying. Offense, when they clicking, who's stopping them? I mean, let's be real. Very hard to stop all of those weapons, especially when now you're seeing guys like DeMarcus Ayers, a guy that we drafted as a kick returner, finally getting his chance to play. He's making plays. That's an X factor. Ladarius Green over the last 4 to 5 weeks. Huge X factor. And you've seen what him and Ben have been able to do already. Of course, you got Antonio Brown. But the problem is now you got all these other guys. Eli Rogers, who I've been big on. Sammy Coates, if he comes back, I know his fingers are still broken on both hands, mind you, 2 broken fingers. Darius Haywood-Bay. Now, what has Haywood-Bay done for us over the last year or 2? He has actually been another guy that can get vertical, still very fast, extremely fast. So whenever he's on the field, now you're in a position like, okay, do we cover over the top with him because he can go deep, leave AB by himself? Or do we man everybody up and leave everybody one-on-one because now you got Eli Rogers who can work the middle? You got DeMarcus Ayers we might bring in who can work the middle in the slot area. Ladarius Green could go deep. I mean, and let's not forget Le'Veon Bell. The offense, when they're clicking, hard to stop them. The point blank period. If I wasn't a Steelers fan, I would say that. Let's just be real. Now that defense is what bothers me. Look at the stats. They're not that good at defense against the pass or the run. Now, ironically, since I want to say Smitty week 11, the Steelers have had like the best stats or something like that. I just saw it the other day. They've been a pretty solid defense on that stretch of the win streak, but they're still giving up the run. With Miami, and let me quickly get to that so I can get to the other games. I don't want to take too much time. Excuse me, guys. But Miami ran all over them, right? That was before the win streak started. Now look at what Cleveland did last week. This boy runs for over 152 yards. I know we're missing some guys. Harrison didn't play in that game. Javon Hargrave got dinged up. Tuitt was out. Of course, Cam Hayward was out. He was out when we played in Miami the first time. But we can't be giving up those run yardage like that, man. And the more and more you get into the playoffs, and we all know that our secondary still ain't that great. We all know that. They're up and coming. I like Artie Burns. I like Sean Davis. If we can ever get Sinclair's Golson on the field, I think he's going to be better in slot in this stage of his career than William Gay. William Gay is still serviceable, but, he's an older guy. He's a veteran. He's almost kind of like when Ike Taylor, I won't say Ike's last 2 years, but like Ike's last, say, his 4th to 3rd, year before he left. He was still a guy that could do something for you. That's what William Gay is. But anyway, let me hurry this up. Let me give you my prediction. I think the Steelers win this one, not because I'm a Steelers fan. I'm just looking at it from what it is. Both teams are different teams than what we were when we faced off against them before. Tannehill is not there, so you got Matt Moore. I'm not saying that. I think his name is Matt, but Moore. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I don't really know what this guy has to offer. I'm sure he's a serviceable quarterback. But again, he's a backup going into a hostile environment. You never know how that's going to turn out. If the Steelers can stymie the run, I think we win it. With me not even being biased, if you're telling me that we can keep them to about 17 points, maybe even 20, I feel confident enough in saying that the Steelers offense can score 21 points. And that's why I think they'll win this matchup. They're not that good against the run. They're actually relatively bad in that area. They give up a lot of points. Le'Veon Bell, for you Steelers fans, do y'all remember in that game, he was 10 carries for 53 yards in the first half? Why did we not go back to him? I guess because we got down. But if you do the math, that's 5.3. I expect him to have a big game, as well as D'Angelo Williams. It's going to be cold. So I just feel like if the Steelers can run the ball versus allowing Miami run the ball, offense to offense, I think the Steelers will win that game. That's just my prediction. Of course, I'm hoping for it, but just looking at it, I think they will win that game. All right, let me quickly get to the other game, Smitty, man, so I can throw it to you. The Raiders and the Texans. I don't know. You got a rookie quarterback, man. Hasn't even taken any real snaps, and now he got to go win a playoff game against the number 1 ranked defense. Wow. I mean, what a task. That's asking a whole lot, man, if you're a Raiders fan. Raider Nation, I feel bad for you guys. Salute to you guys, because I recognized y'all were on to come up, not this year, but I want to say last year. I think it was last year. Whatever that year was, we had that shootout with y'all at Heinz Field, and we won 38-35. Charles Woodson last year. I knew then that Derek Carr was going to be special. I said, okay, he got his feet wet a little bit in his first season. This dude's going to be something. And that chemistry that they got going right now, but unfortunately, he's out. The Raiders defense has been giving up a lot of points. Now, I don't trust no Osweiler now. I don't. And I believe he's going to be the guy. I think Savage is still out. I don't trust either one of those guys to be my guy to win a game for me. But I will say this, Smitty, in chat. The Texas defense, I feel like they will show up against a rookie quarterback in the playoffs at home. So I think the Texans might edge that one. I don't know for sure because I don't trust either quarterback. I don't really know. Who is it? Connor Shaw, right? Ain't that who it is, Smitty? Ain't that the guy? No, not Connor Shaw. Is that his name? For the one that he's from Michigan State, I think. Ain't that the guy? Oh, I might have the name wrong. Or something, Connor Cook or something like that. I might have his name wrong, but y'all know who I'm talking about. But anyway, that's gonna be tough, man. Rookie going against the number 1 defense. So I don't know. I'm gonna say Texans.
Yeah, it's Connor Cook. You're right, Connor Cook.
Connor Cook, yeah. I don't know why I said Shaw. That's the guy that played down south, yeah. But your Lions against the Seahawks, Smitty. I'm about to surprise some people. I'm going to go with the Lions, man. And I'm going to tell you why. The Seahawks, now let's not forget, they're at home. And it is Seattle. And excuse me for a moment because my co-host is coming. Go back in there, okay? Go ahead. Now, it is Seattle. Now, I know I'm stepping out on the limb here. I'm probably crazy for saying this, but you got to take some chances sometimes. Seattle ain't looked the same to me. They haven't looked the same. Russell Wilson is having to do too much. The offensive line is horrendous. They don't have a real – I like Doug Baldwin, but he's really the only guy really producing this year. Lockett is out, so that takes some speed away from him as well as special teams. Earl Thomas is not in the middle of that Legion of Boom, and it has shown up. Seattle is not the dominant Seattle that we're used to. Detroit is the type of team that I think can hang in there long enough. I trust Matt Stafford to make a play late. It could possibly happen. Golden Tate, I'm sure, will be pumped up to go in there to play. You know, I like what I see out of Detroit. Now, to comment on what Smitty said earlier, Detroit has taken a little dip late in the season. I don't like that. They're not looking as strong as they was. Plus, I know Smitty knows this. All of them fourth quarter comebacks. I mean, that's not a team that you can be excited about per se, but it could come to that. And against that defense now that Seattle has, still a great defense, but I just feel like they're not the same, man. I wouldn't be surprised if that was an upset, because I feel like you got to pick an upset in every one of these rounds. I'm going to call that one as being an upset, because Seattle is the team that I wanted to face Dallas when they were potent. But now that they are suffering injury, I don't know. It ain't the same Seattle. So I'm going to call that upset. I think Detroit goes in there and steals one. Last but not least, the Giants and the Packers. I'm going to make this very easy and very simple, Smitty. I think Aaron Rodgers gets the job done, man. Somehow, some way. Now, that Packers defense reminds me of my Steelers. I remember talking to J.P. Davis earlier in the season. Okay, hold on. I remember talking to J.P. Davis earlier in the season, and I said, look at both the Steelers and the Packers sitting at 4-5. Who would have thought with all of that talent? Then all of a sudden, Smitty, they got on a roll, just like the Steelers. Defense still suspect, but for some reason during the win streak, they started to play a little better. For some reason. So if the Packers can muster any little defense, Aaron Rodgers is on fire right now. It's at Lambeau. I think they win that game. However, let's not forget this. They are super thin in the secondary. If I'm not mistaken, Smitty, I heard that a receiver or something like that is going to be playing corner. Oh, have mercy.
Oh, wow.
I swear I heard that today on one of these shows. They were saying it. I don't know who it is. I have to get my research together to make sure, but we all know that they're decimated as far as the secondary. Remember that game against the Redskins? Oh my God, that just horrendous. But the Giants not really having a run game. You bracket coverage, Odell Beckham. Hey, you're at home. You got that going for you. I think the Packers take care of business. However, and I know Cowboy fans are going to hate me, I wanted to see the Giants play them again. I just want to see that. I don't know if it's going to get to that, but I wanted to see the rubber match because the Giants kind of have owned them this year, and I think the Giants have the pedigree to beat Dallas. I'm just keeping it honest. I don't hate on Dallas. I'm just saying I don't think Dallas, to me, is the clear favorite, in my opinion, to come out of the NFC. I don't think that. I think a couple of these teams have the potential to beat them. Will they? I don't know, because Dallas has been balling. But I wanted to see the Giants try to get that hat trick on them. But I don't know if it's going to happen, man. I think Green Bay might sneak that one because if Aaron Rodgers gets hot, y'all might as well cancel Christmas because that dude is ridiculous when he's hot. But that's my take on it, man. Smitty, what do you think, man? What's going to happen this weekend? Who's going to win and why?
The way I look at it is pretty much, if Aaron Rodgers keeps it rolling in, if Eli drops the ball against the Giants, which we honestly should have won that game. We had a costly fumble in the season. We would have beat them boys. But Aaron Rodgers is gonna. I honestly think Aaron Rodgers is gonna do his thing offensively. Now, while the Giants they do have some secondary talent out there, so I'm not gonna they're not gonna make mistakes like the Chicago Bears and let stuff like Jordy Nelson get past their secondary and throw 30-yard bombs on the field and stuff like that. At least I doubt that'll happen with the Giants. We'll have to wait and see. And also if it comes down to it, if they get some favorable officiating, then yeah, I see them coming away with the W there. The Packers, they'll come away and pull that out like they got against us. The other week, like I said on Twitter, if Micah Hyde can play defense the way he did on Golden Tate for that last possession we had, where he basically threw that pick. I say the possession before last, where it was a pick, because it was defensive holding. He held on to Tate all the way up until still like running downfield and held on to him until I got there. Then he let go of Tate and all of a sudden turned and picked the ball off. Like, if we could do stuff like, if they're allowed to do stuff like that in that game, then yeah, they got a great shot. As far as Raiders and Texans, I mean, I really don't pay attention. I honestly, like I said before, when it comes to the NFL, I primarily pay attention mainly to the Lions. I really don't pay attention to anybody else. So, but I can say this: I definitely see the Raiders, even without Derek Carr, which is huge. That is huge, but that is a huge loss. But I believe that their defense will be more than serviceable enough to. And the Texans are in complete disarray with their quarterback. I mean, you saw their coach, the head coach, Bill O'Brien. He muttered under his breath when he had to put Osweiler in there the other day. You know what I'm saying? Because Savage got hurt. So it's like he doesn't want, he really they signing that guy. Huge mistake. And he knows it, and it's like he dreads putting him out there because he looks like he has zero confidence. He's lost all faith in himself out there. So them boys, they may mess around. They may mess around and throw like 4 or 5. They may probably do a repeat of like what Hoyer did last year. Throw 4 or 5 picks or whatever. He gonna throw that ball right to the defense, like as if they're extra receiver on the field. So I believe that's what will mess around and happen, especially when you got beasts out there like Khalil Mack on the Raiders. So I ain't against that kind of front. So they're in some trouble. Dolphins and Steelers. I don't really pay attention to the Dolphins all that much, so I can't really speak on that on them. Steelers, though, I mean, just basically from what you basically have been telling about it, Sim. The Steelers, look, as long as they got Big Ben out there, as long as they got Big Ben and he's got at least a decent receiving core to sling it to, he's all right. You got AB. You got AB out there, and like you said, you got Hayward Bay out there. That's more than enough in terms of being serviceable. So I believe that they'll definitely come through and pull that game out. Lions, Seahawks. I'm pushing for my Lions no matter what. Now I'm not gonna. We got played last year. Dude made Calvin fumble, but purposely batted the ball out the end zone. Russ made a horrendous decision. I don't know how the heck you didn't call that. And that's blatant. That's a blatant penalty. But unless, if the Lions play back up against the wall football where if they're down in the fourth quarter and it's not by much, then look out. Because them boys will mess around and pull out another comeback. But with all the conflict and there's player conflict within the team at this time, and at the same time you got players hurt. They don't have their stout running game anymore. You got Russell Wilson, who's been banged up quite a bit this year. So and plus you don't even have Earl Thomas, huge to your defense. That's not out there. So. And plus, we're coming back. We got Travis Swanson. He's come back, which is huge to our offensive line because if we had Swanson going up against Green Bay, I mean not Green Bay, what's the name of the team? Against Dallas, I don't think that they would have been that big of a blowout because those guys were able to run right up the gap and everything. They were shooting through and just like crushing. They were crushing Stafford as far as time in the pocket was concerned. He had basically no time to do anything. So you got him coming back. You got Riley Reef coming back. So that's going to be, it'll be interesting to see what those guys do, which are key pieces to that offensive line. So we'll see. We'll see how these guys coordinate. Cooter and Terrell, they're going to have to be at their best with the coordinating this time because – even though, and I mean, look, they still got Jimmy Graham over there. and we suck at the tight end. We suck at defending tight ends. Our tight end coverage is not suspect. It sucks.
So do
okay,
we.
so
Yep.
so if we don't, I mean, see, you guys are cardiac. You guys got a cardiac kid kind of situation going on. Us, it's just been terrible. So, like, but I mean, look, I will say this: Nevin Lawson has came up, and he's developing into a more and more legitimate corner. It sucks that Quandre Diggs is out and that he's been injured because he's a press corner. And he does a good job of applying that pressure and jamming guys at the line. So he, it sucks that he's not out. That he'll be out. Not fully healthy, but we have a very serviceable Darius Slay. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. It'll be interesting to see what Levy does. It'll be interesting to see what is it that we do. What do we bring forth going up against these guys? Because while, yes, you've seen how they nearly lost to San Fran and everything, San Fran ain't Detroit. Okay? When Detroit come into town, all of a sudden the game changes. It's a whole different bag of beans. So we'll have to see how Detroit responds to, number one, we're going to their house. That's number one. But number two, like I said, we're not – it's a whole different atmosphere when we play against these opponents. For some odd reason, they just all of a sudden step it up 10 notches when it comes to play, whether they come to our house or we go to their house. So we'll see what they do. But I'm picking the Lions, though. Hopefully they pull it out. So we'll see what happens. But throw it back to you, bro.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be very interesting, and again, as y'all see me scratching my arm there, you're gonna hear some background noise. I got that co-host in the background, so y'all already know how that goes. But yeah, I mean, the games could go either way. I mean, I think the picks that I made, I'm gonna stick to them, and I just said in the chat there, the only reason why I'm going with the Packers is because they're at home. And I just think Aaron Rodgers is hot right now. If I had to pick based on the teams, like if I literally say, okay, who's the better team right now, I would probably say the Giants. But I don't know. I just think the Packers will be able to ride the momentum. They're at home. And, I think they're going to win that game. But, man, let's go into some other topics here. I mean, the biggest one here, and y'all give me just a second. Let me pull them up here. All right. So, first one. In regards to Madden, guys, the question was not even a question. My good buddy Frisk, he wanted me to talk about the future of the Madden, franchise mode versus MUT. How do we feel that's going to go? And will it evolve? Will it play a backseat to MUT? And will they both be evolved, et cetera, et cetera? So I'll give my quick thoughts on it, man, and then I'll throw it to Smitty. I don't even have to be that long with this one, Smitty. I mean, you guys have to understand the position where we come from. A lot of it is things that we know, things that we've experienced, and what we really feel just based on how we see everything playing out. Now, my buddy, he knows who he is. He always likes to ask these type of questions where he likes to hear our opinion because partly – he likes to challenge us, so to speak, to see if we're right as far as not right or wrong, but he kind of wants to see if our thought process is lining up with what they're actually doing. But a lot of times, and Smitty knows that we've had conversations with him, at EA, and he'll be like, "It was crazy when y'all said that because that's exactly what this is. That's what we're doing." And it'd be a certain thing. It would be like, I know that's why he said he wanted us to discuss it. And I'm sure, he's going to be checking out the chat and see what you guys have to say. But real quick for me, man, I feel like I don't think it's going to take a backseat to MUT. I think franchise mode is going to evolve, is going to be bigger and better down the road. And here's the reason why. There's many people I could name, but there's one person in particular that I know who's big on that stuff. It's John White. You know, John White is pretty much the man that runs the show right now, you know, in CFM. You guys know him for the most part. Very passionate about CFM. A lot of devs are very passionate about CFM. Believe it or not, a lot of devs, that's all they play. You know, so I don't think it's going to take a back seat because there's so much emphasis on it from us, the community, that they won't have a choice. Now, as far as time frames and all that, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I don't know, you know, and if I did, I couldn't really tell y'all. So y'all know how that song and dance goes. I can't allude to anything that we know. But I can tell you this. Franchise mode, CFM, or what have you, is not a lost art, lost, you know, thought. It's not on the back burner. This is something that they talk about a lot when we're there. You know, I can promise y'all that. None of the areas in the game is something that's really taking a back seat. You know, in fact, outside of the fact that, and I'm going to throw something at him, Smitty, that people probably won't believe. If you really look at it, CFM actually gets more attention than MUT. But let me explain what I mean by that. I know some of y'all are probably like, what? Sim done lost his mind. Listen to what I'm saying. MUT is a mode that is continuous, meaning that they're always coming up with new cards or something like that. But they don't really add no new features. See what I'm saying? There's really not a lot of features that's added to MUT. It's really not. So CFM has actually gotten more attention in that regard because it needs more, whereas people feel like all of the attention is on MUT because to the eye, that's all you see. You see these tournaments and the Madden Bowl and the Madden Challenge and et cetera, et cetera. So you think, oh, that's all they worried about. Well, the last Madden Challenge actually kind of put a wrench in that thought process because you saw that they actually made an adjustment to the game that affected those tourney players. And the glitch actually showed up in the game, and then Rex came out and apologized for it. So that just goes to show you that it's not like everything that's done is for a month or for the tourney crowd. No. That situation alone, I kind of laughed inside to myself when it happened because I was like, that's funny because everybody always thinks that they do everything for those guys. And in reality, it was things done right before the challenge. Arguably, you could say cost some of those guys a chance of winning. So take it from me and Smitty, man, and Azure as well. We always going to tell y'all the truth. We ain't never going to steer you the wrong way. We ain't never. I can promise you right now. Let me emphasize on never. You ain't never going to hear us say anything for EA. What I mean by that is they told me to say this. They told me to stay away from this. They told me not to criticize. No. The day that I am approached with don't criticize us, that's the day y'all won't have me there as a game changer. Sim won't be there for y'all because that ain't in my character to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't, it ain't like I'm getting paid. And even if I was, my palms with lack of integrity. Like that don't work for me. So that's why I always tell y'all, we the realest. This ain't knocking nobody else because there's a whole bunch of game changers who my dudes. But, you know, this just for sake of argument. We're the realest game changers y'all going to find because we come on here and tell y'all this stuff straight up. We go out there and get interviews done and things like that. And Shop as well. Shop is another one. It's always about the community, getting interviews and, you know, doing his show. We're not going to tell you something that's wrong. We ain't going to tell you something to make us look crazy. I promise you that. So when you hear me say, nah, guys, it ain't like that at all, regardless of what happens, I can't control what happens on a year-to-year basis. They will have to explain that. Excuse me. But I can promise you, it ain't like nobody sits around and they're thinking CFM takes a back seat. We ain't going to do nothing to it. MUT is the one. However, I will say this, Smitty, then I'll throw it to you. MUT does get attention because Let's be real. That's a cash cow. Everybody knows that. So if you're at the top of the food chain, why wouldn't you make sure your moneymaker is straight? Because think about it. We are the ones that's sitting here saying, man, well, if they did this, they would sell more copies. Da, 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 da. Let's be honest for a minute. How long have we been saying that? We've been saying that since the Save 65 movement. Remember that? And every year since then, every year since, more people who are in the sim community has said that they won't gonna play the game, which a lot of them are lying. Y'all know y'all lying. You're playing it right now as you're listening to the show. But ever since then, what's happened? The sales have continued to go up. So obviously, it's only a few of us that really feel like, oh, they will sell way more copies. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Smitty and I and Azure talk about that point of, yo, make real football and you might attract people who ain't currently buying it. That's a different topic, because you might attract 2 million more people that's like, whoa, that's real football. I'm going to play now. But even if you don't get them, you still going to get your numbers, because the other people who are fascinated with the way the game is right now are going to continue to buy it. And the Madden Challenge and the Madden Bowl and all that. And this is funny because it ties into one of our other topics that we'll hit. But I'll say this small piece. That's only going to make the game more popular, whether the gameplay is improved or not. Think about that. There's some people that love it as is. That's why every time there's a Madden Bowl or a challenge or what have you, it's thousands of people watching it. So that's just my take on that, Smitty, man. I don't think they clash. You know, obviously, I do know allocation is divvied out, but they're going to take care of money. But from what we've talked about, what we know, and the passion that the CFM devs show us, I don't think it's going to take a back seat. I think it will eventually get to where we want it. I mean, Smitty and I, just to give y'all a quick example, then I'll let Smitty take it over. We continue to push, man, whatever y'all did in Head Coach 09, put that in the game, man. All of that. All of that. We need that in CFM, and we need the progressive, like the injuries and the game plan and stuff that NCAA had on the fly. All of that. And we're going to keep preaching these things until they are all in the game. But that's my take on it, Smitty. I can't say my quick take because I went on for a little bit there, but what are your thoughts on that subject, man?
Basically just that, you know, when we talk about like looking in the chat and everything here, this is a question that I'll pose. If you look at MUT and you look at CFM, and well, let me see. I'm gonna pull up the question that what M. Dot was talking about, but that the thing is that from that, what is new? What is the brand spanking new thing that's every single week or every occasion that happens that the devs are gonna say, hey, this is what we got brand new this week in CFM. Hey, this is what we got going on in, like, what's going to be the new thing? What are they going to honestly be able to say? Honestly be able to do to elaborate on that and be so fresh and so new, you know what I'm saying, going forward into the next game. Because unlike Ultimate Team, yeah, people can play their bowl games and play their MUT seasons and all that stuff, but all you're worried about is more cards being available, types being available, adding in these challenges so you can get this particular card to these cards and this collectible in these tiered level cards. You get this one. What are you going to do? What are you going to do in regards of in regards of doing something like that within CFM. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, at the end of the day, I know people are saying, like I'm seeing here in the chat, that it's all about things like that and their money, their bread. But what you also got to understand here is that along with that, we'll have these modes because there are people, once again, you have diehard crowds and you have people that would want to play franchise because even though people, like somebody said in the chat a little bit earlier, they had their family members, their nieces, their nephews basically ask them for MUT coins and VC. You know what I mean? That's what they're into because what is it that you primarily see on YouTube? You see that on YouTube a lot, but you also have people that do franchises like Moonlit Swami, like Mr. Hurricane, you know what I mean? And there are others that do franchise videos and have a lot of subs off of them. A lot of subs, get a lot of views. So it's not like you can only do one thing and you're stuck. And that's all, it's just all MUT and that's it. We're not going to see these other modes update. Well, it looks like CFM is always going to look like there isn't much done to it because like I said, there's not a weekly update. You don't have weekly and daily and occasional updates or whatever. Like you're not going to see a Pro Bowl. You're not about to see update happen in the middle of your CFM, in the middle of like in Sim Standard League. You're not about to see something like that in the middle of the online CFM. You're not going to see that. It's not going to happen. It's based off of what you're doing within that CFM. It's Ultimate Team and Park and all that stuff. It's like you got the Park, and then you got yourself who's dropped in the middle of whatever is going on at the park. Ultimate Team is the same deal. You're the user, you're dropped into whatever is going on in the middle of it. CFM, you're the pilot driving you're the pilot driving the truck in the middle of that. That's the same thing like with the Sim Standard League and others. You got 32 pilots driving that truck. You see what I'm saying? It's not just, oh, I could do what I want, and then there could be this dynamic update that could come through, and it's going to augment the whole thing for everyone. Like, no, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I'm saying about CFM in comparison to MUT in terms of how it holds up, like the integrity. Like, I think that there are some things that they can do to give it a lot more depth, yes. But Ultimate Team, like what Sim said, it's essentially cards. I would love to see things like we talked about it on previous shows, but I would love to see things happening like, players become coordinators. Actually having coordinators on the team. I mean, I know that's one of the other questions people had, but this goes right in line with it in previous. But I want to see coordinators in there. And I mean, they actually have impact on your squad because these coaches right now, they don't have impact. They don't have impact on your team. What do they actually? If I were to take Caldwell off of my team and I put a rookie coach on there right now, what kind of impact are they going to have potentially on my players' morale, on my players' confidence? What's affecting my players' confidence? Oh, you do these drills. No, what about my weekly? What about having a true weekly preparation? A la, I know, tapping into it anyways, but it's the truth. A la 2K5. You had an actual weekly preparation in terms of drills, in terms of, skill drills, position drills. You could, if you wanted to, like, you had those options. You need those options. You need that depth. We need that stuff in Madden. You know what I'm saying? Ultimate Team, yes, I mean, look, there are things that they need to do to get the game right in terms of gameplay in general. I get that. But with what you got going on in 2K, I mean, not 2K, excuse me, with what you already got going on in Ultimate Team, they're going to be solid with what they got. But what about doing it for the offline guy or for the CFM people, for the online head-to-head? You see what I mean? And that's why I said that when you're talking about these modes and what needs to happen, this is where simulation mode comes in. You need to have that difficulty. You need to have those online lobbies where you can say, okay, I'm going to play on this simulation difficulty. I'm playing on all Madden simulation difficulty. I'm playing that lobby. There, them dudes ain't going to be able to do all that cheesy stuff. They're going to have to actually pay attention to their X's and O's and do their thing. See what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff that I want to see. That is the depth that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for it to be as flashy as Ultimate Team is. I don't expect it. It's a card collecting game. Like, why would I compare that mode? Why would I compare a structured mode to basically a wild card game mode where, you know, if I play Draft Champions, I can get a decent talent player. I could get one of the special edition players in there, and it's like, oh, sweet, I got so and so, I got such and such. Let's get it. Like, it's that kind of vibe with that, and that's just the way I feel in regards to it. But you know, it doesn't have that kind of impact to me on a franchise mode, and that's why I'm just saying franchise. As long as they keep on building the way they're building, franchise mode will be fine. Money is not going to keep them from building that out, because they have to build that out, because you have a bunch of people that purchase this game and play this game off the strength of them having these franchise modes and stuff like that. You know, these different modes in the game. Can't have the exact same stuff in these games, man. You know what I mean? You got to have it. You know, that's pretty much what I got. But you need that depth, though. You know, in-depth tutorial, in-depth practice mode. Be able to take your practice, your squad, and actually take them off of out of your CFM and play. Like, if you want to do play now with them, take them out, see how they stack up. You know what I mean? Do stuff like that. Like, that's the kind of stuff that we need to do. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be. You need to have those kind of options for CFM, just like you see how we have those options within MUT. You have all those customization options. So we need that kind of stuff. So, but I'll throw it to you, Sim. Throw it back to you, brother.
Yeah, man. I just want to say something real quick. I do see that we got our homie Azure has chimed in, so I'm gonna throw him in here in just a second. But I wanted to say something on a comment that I just left. I just laugh sometimes, man. And listen, if I'm talking about you, it is what it is. I mean, sometimes I laugh at the opinions that come out sometimes when you talk about Madden or EA, because some people really say it, Smitty and AZ, like it's fact. Like, some of the stuff that you guys say, I can promise you, it is nothing like that. And I'm saying, again, listen to us, man. we are people who have the ability to talk to the devs and people all the time and no future plan. Like, y'all are assuming is not the case. I'm telling you. Now, does it appear that they don't care about CFM? I guess to some people. Does it appear that they're lazy? It probably does. But again, the reason why I want to emphasize that, let me say this real quick, and then I'll throw it to AZ. The reason why I want to emphasize, be careful in what you say, because I want every one of you guys' voices to be heard. Let me give you a quick example of what I'm saying. And none of y'all are this extreme. But a little while ago, about an hour or two ago, I saw a tweet that Rex tweeted out where he said, wow, as a community, we got to do better than this. And he showed this guy's tweet that said, hey, if Rex has kids, I hope they die of terminal cancer. And I'm like, bruh, at the end of the day, we talk about video games, fam. Like, are you that upset about a game? And my point is, I want our movement, us guys that follow us, and we follow y'all, and y'all know who y'all are. I want our movement to be critical, extremely critical, but stay away from the negative. What I mean is, there's no point in saying stuff like, man, they don't give a F, they lazy. Because then if you were somebody that they might have listened to, they ain't going to listen to you no more. That's just life. It ain't about be nice or be mean. It ain't about that. It's about life. If somebody came up to you and you was trying to do whatever it is you're doing in your life, you're gaming, you a rapper or whatever it is, and somebody came up to you was like, man, you trash, you suck, F you, F that, are you going to listen to him? No. You're probably going to listen to the guy like me that would be like, yo, I see what you're doing, but let me give you some pointers, man, from my point of view. This is what this is what you might need to improve on. You're going to be more willing to listen to that guy. He's still going to tell you the truth, but he ain't telling you to go F yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying is I want us to stay grounded because we need all of the voices. So when Smitty and Azure and myself is telling you it ain't that, like it ain't got nothing to do with nobody being lazy. We have told y'all a million times. You know what it's got to do with? Priority and the biggest voice. We've been saying that for years. Now, I'm not saying that our voice is not as big as far as franchise people. We all have asked for it. But what I'm saying is when they go into the meetings every year, there's these big bosses that's like, okay, what y'all want to do? All right, we know what y'all want to do. Now, this is what we can let you do. All right, now, based on what we can let you do, this is how much time you can have. This is how many engineers you can have for this amount of days. This is how many hours you can have to do that. That's how it works. So I'm just saying, stay away from that. Because if these dudes, let's be honest for a second. If these dudes was just straight up lazy, they didn't care, why would there be any interaction with any of us? Let's be honest. Why? Why would they be any interaction at all? Putting themselves on Twitter. Even John White has launched himself on out there. Why would you do that if you didn't care on certain communities or if you just didn't? Because you know what I would do? I'd be like Ian Cummins. I would never talk to nobody, pretty much. You know, every now and then he would pop up on the OS forums, but you could better believe that he won't gonna be all in it like Rex and them is. No. Because he knew what time it was back then. That was a bad time for EA. But I'm just saying, try to be as concise and constructive as possible. But all of the crazy negative opinions like that, what's the point? Because this is my thing to you. If you really feel like this is for anybody, I don't know who this applies to and who it doesn't. I'm just saying I read comments on here, I read comments everywhere. If you are one of those people, why are you even still in the conversation? Why haven't you turned your back on the game? What? Why? Again, perfect example. Do you ever hear SimFBallCritic? And I hate talking about myself in third person. That's crazy. But do you ever hear me say anything about Call of Duty? Ever. Ever. Even when it comes out and my homie Jive Turkey will say something like, man, this game is trash. Do you ever hear me say, that's because Infinity Ward sucks? That's because so-and-so Activision is like, no, I don't care. It doesn't concern me. So I just have to say that because I'm telling you, man, there's bigger things at stake. But we need the numbers. We need as many voices that are being constructive, not angry, to try to make things happen like these other crowds do. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, you can either take heed to that or don't. But I'm just saying again, if you listen to anybody, listen to us, because we there. And we go as far as we can without breaking the rules, trying to let y'all know what's up. That's all I got on that. I just had to say that real quick. But man, AZ, man, we happy to have you tonight. I just told everybody when the show started that, you know, you're busy, you know, you got some things going on, and we understand that. So go ahead, man. Well, let me give you the topic real quick. And I see we got Kia on as well. So Kia, you definitely come in after AZ. But the first topic, man, was Frisk had sent me a tweet and was saying, hey, I want you guys to discuss the future of CFM versus Mutt. And basically what he was saying is, how do we feel that's going to go? Do we think Mutt, will make CFM take a back seat? Do we think CFM is going to expand, or, et cetera, et cetera?
And let me first say this before I go in. I apologize, but as Sim said, I have some stuff going on, and wife's about to have third child any day now. So, life is kicking in for AZ right now. So, but I was glad I was able to hop in tonight on the show. So, what up to everybody? And just to dive in real quick, and I'm gonna be short. I honestly think they should go in two separate directions, because you have your Mutt crowd. Because honestly, if you think about it, Mutt gets updated so frequently. It's like CFM is just there, takes a backseat. It's there at launch, and if we do get something, it's bug fixes or things that help it perform better. But as far as it getting new content, not really there. I have faith that they're still going to continue to support franchise and CFM because of the app. The app kind of gives me that hope, I guess, that they're still trying to enhance and make it better. I said this a while back, that if you immerse me in my football world, that's all I really have to have. And I think there's, a faction of guys out there like me that if I stay connected to my league and have the information that I need that keeps users and CFMs connected, that we don't have to use daddy leagues and, the app and all these other miscellaneous things that we do to try to keep us engaged. Play mirror. That stuff needs to be rolled in with CFM. I only play Mutt to waste time, honestly, because there's a point in Madden when Madden first comes out where Mutt is fun and people don't have all these crazy overpowered teams and, crazy stuff like we used to talk about with Calvin Johnson at free safety. That kind of stuff is what I don't look forward to in Mutt. But early on, when people are grinding and building their teams before the crazy cars come out, there is a amount of strategy and fun to it. You have to excuse my co-host. And it just withers away as the year goes on to me. But CFM is where the depth's at. It continues to be fun throughout the year. And that's because if you're in a great league, you can really see, the depth of players progressing, regressing, rookies, and all that kind of stuff. That's what makes it immersive and what makes it fun. But like Smitty said about gameplay, the gameplay has to be there. So, for instance, I built my team a certain way at the beginning of Madden, and it was for the trenches. I went out and got Michael Bennett. I already had Jarrell Casey. I went and got Dan Williams, and it was a formidable line. But as these tuners started to roll out and, patches, it just got less and less away from the strength of that. And to me, what the game was early on was football. You had to learn, you had to adapt. There was more organic things happening to where now I feel like I'm playing Madden 16.5. So if CFM is going to improve, to me, they have to leave it alone in terms of gameplay. When the gameplay rolls out at launch, or at least give us the option to play on what tuner we like, because I know different people like different things. Some people like the game now. Some people like the game at launch. But no matter what CFM you operate in, you should be able to say, okay, this is the gameplay that I like, and we're going to roll with that. It's unfortunate because you can't please everybody, and that's one of the detractions I think that the game has now, that it tries to please too many. It has too many masters. You got your tournament crowd, you got your mud crowd, you got the CFM, you got play now, tournament players. So, you're trying to run around and you're basically chasing your tail, trying to get things right for different people. So in the future, honestly, man, I'd like to see it rolled out into 2 different games. We talked about this. I know it probably won't happen.
Yeah.
But, let people have their experience with MUT. And if I don't want to play that, I don't have to buy that. I don't even have to see it in my game. But, see it like Smitty was saying, CFM needs to be that depth. Almost, if not, an updated version of head coach rolled in with some other stuff. Because head coach had everything that you needed. I didn't really like the gameplay aspect of it, but it was more so, it was about being a head coach more so than gameplay. But it needs to have that depth that head coach has. So, it's still the gameplay that we love and we know, from Madden this year and how it's been improving each year. But at the same time, we need more depth. Because to me, it gets stale. If we weren't in good leagues, I don't know if I'd be playing CFM right now. CFM would have got old. Playing the computer would have got old a long time ago to me. And that's just me.
Very true.
Online CFM.
Very true.
So when it comes down to competition, I want to play somebody who, not the computer brain. I want to play somebody who has a strategy of their own and has a philosophy and players who fit his scheme and things of that nature. I mean, to me, that's the exciting part of CFM, or at least online CFM, where you can match with somebody or match teams with somebody and either beat them or lose. And especially when it comes down to division games, you have division games where you see people twice a year. You got to build your team to stop. Hold on, Blaine. You got to build your team to stop what they do. That's what the NFL does. Look at my Titans, for instance.
Yeah.
They can't win with old school football, yada, yada, yada. We went from a 3-win team to a 9-win team in 1 year, playing old school football, smash mouth, run the ball, play defense. And so I want to see that kind of stuff reflected. Man, I'm tired of seeing quarters and dimes stop the run. And I felt like it wasn't like that in the beginning or at launch. And I'm just getting tired of the cycle of them watering stuff down. If this is my opinion, watering things down to make stuff easier for people to play. I don't want that in CFL. I want it to be hard. I want people to have to learn and adjust. And like I said, go out and find players who fit your scheme. There's so many people who get players that don't fit their scheme, and they still are successful because maybe the player is really fast or, super strong. I mean, true enough, you do have transcendent players at some positions. Like, to me, Lawrence Taylor, okay, he could have played probably in any defense and been dominant. But how many Lawrence Taylors have we seen throughout the years? See what I'm saying? So you can't put a square peg in a round hole. So I want to see, and to me, Mutt has that of having players and schemes be more, I guess, pronounced when you're playing the game. You can say, okay, well, this zone blocking scheme that I got, I like that. I have players who fit my scheme, and when I run these types of plays, I get better results. As opposed to if I have a, pass offense and I'm trying to run the ball and I'm not really getting anywhere. Okay, you don't have the offense to run that type of scheme. So, I mean, I didn't mean to get too long-winded, but that's just my view of it. But I still think it should probably be rolled into 2 different games, honestly. I mean, that way, if I was pitching it, if it was me, I'd be like, instead of $60, you're gonna get $120 because some people like MUT, some people like CFM. But that way, you're starting to, I don't want to say break the team up, but you got a team that says, okay, we just listen to CFM. That's all we hearing. Boom, boom, boom. This is CFM. This is the CFM game, the simulation game. We want to hear everything, and fix that and give you what you want. And on the MUT side, you can do everything else you want to do and, quick rank, play now. Both games will have quick rank, but CFM and MUT would be different. So, I don't know, man. I doubt they do it, but to me, hey, if I'm a businessman, I see a model that would give me $120 instead of $60, I'd do it, unfortunately. But we live in America, capitalism.
Great point. Great point. Kia, man, happy to have you on, man. Whatever it is you got for us, feel free. The floor is yours.
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up?
First of all, MUT isn't going away anytime soon. I think we all know that. I'm watching the opening round of the Madden Bowl, the round of 128, and it's like the NCAA tournament. You got a bunch of channels streaming, and it's boom, 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 one game after another. You have multiple streams going on, multiple games going on in the same stream, and it's like a rotation. They cut in, they cut out. It's like you're watching the broadcast of a NCAA tournament first round weekend. So the elephant's in the room, and he's not going away anytime soon. The thing with MUT is that it creates this, I tweeted this out today, it creates this distorted view and watered down, dumbed down view of football. I'm watching a game right now, and a guy in the top 20, he's sitting here struggling to read a base 3-3-5 cover 2. No adjustments, no wrinkles. It's just a stock 3-3-5 Tampa 2. Getting his head beat in, trying to read it. So what does he do? He goes to the swerve glitch and gets on the board. That's what MUT creates. It creates this expectation that, is completely in fantasy land. You have these corners in MUT that have hit power and tackling like linebackers. So you put them in the slots in your dollar, and they're blowing the head off of your linemen and your running backs. During my little winter vacation, I had time to go in. I was ranked 120. I had time to chip away. I said, you know what? Let me try this dollar for myself. And let me tell you, I threw in Jalen Ramsey and Mel Blount in my slots. And if you have a brain and know what you're doing, you can make it damn near impossible to score. If you stink at it, you have a lot of these guys, like Problem puts out a defense, and the next thing you know, every 15 to 16-year-old in the country who plays Madden is running it. But, if you have any brain in your head at all, you can make it really difficult to score playing unsound defense. And you can be a pain in the behind to stop as well, playing unfundamentally sound offense. Madden Ultimate Team is the only environment where people think that throwing corner routes against a deep third corner is a good read, or throwing a post at a single high safety is a good throw. These are the kind of things that we're all fighting to weed out of this community. And it's been a hard fight, and it's a fight that I frankly fear that we're losing, because when the game first came out, I thought we were on our way to a potential classic game. I was looking at the game, and I said to myself, okay, just patch this, that, and this, and we're good. I don't see ball strips anymore. They're gone. I don't see the running back with a mediocre carry rating and traffic and the defenders punching the ball out and stripping it. I haven't seen that since August. I haven't gotten a base 4-man pass rush since August. I have to either play 3 down linemen and drop 8 and pray that I get a guy split through a double team, or double team this time it doesn't quite work right. Or I got to find a way to bring an edge blitz, and heaven forbid I play man coverage. I got to pray that the guy isn't running a C route that can't be bumped. These are the things that this community has been conditioned to believe is good football for at least 10, 12 years. But the difference between them and us is that when they don't like something, they get to the message boards, they get to Twitter, and they bombard with a fury. And what happens? We get a tuner that delays the pass rush release. We get a tuner that nerfs your run blocking so that you have an alley against numbers, and next thing you know, you have a guy popping in the running lane, and you have no idea where he came from. All because guys are rolling out in nickel and $326 and trying to stop a halfback power with a 340-pound guard coming right into the lap of the defensive back. You had guys trying to stop jumbo package stretch out of base nickel. Get out of here with that. Adapt to the game or get your head kicked in. The thing I want to see out of the devs is more backbone against this. That's the one thing that's disappointed me. That and the fact that our side of the table isn't as vocal as the tournament and MUT crowd. The Sim side of the table gets too bogged down in a glitch that happens maybe 1 out of 50 times, or an animation quirk that happens 1 out of 100 times. And next thing you know, there's, a guy putting out a flaw video about those isolated flaws every single day for the entire year. That gets us nowhere. What that does is that gets Rex and Clint thinking that we're all crazy and we're out of our minds. Screw these people. That's literally what they do. They say, to hell with this. This is not getting us anywhere. This is not any useful feedback. We'll go on to the voices that are louder and more numerous and are actually saying something. And until our voices get to the point where we are sticking up to the things in the game that we like and want, this cycle will continue. Game comes out. We think it's great. The guys who can't handle it whine, or the tournament guys who want to release all their guys on deep flood routes whine because they're getting their heads torn off by a defensive lineman in 2.5, 3 seconds whine. Next thing you know, by September, October, that's gone, and we're right back to where we were a year ago. I wouldn't call this. Right now, I feel like I'm playing Madden 16 with more drops and a worse run game. That's what I feel like I'm playing now. And until we pound the table with what we want in a way that is constructive and intelligent sounding, we'll continue to see this. In this game I'm watching, the guy who scored a touchdown swerving, his opponent went right back and swerved right over triple coverage to tie the game. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we're fighting against, and the kind of stuff that we have to weed out of this game. And it's only going to happen if we pound the table as much as these guys who are playing in this tournament. Could I qualify for this tournament if I wanted to put the time in? Not a doubt in my mind. But I don't want to do this. I don't want to play like this. I don't want to play against Gun Stugs and Gun Bunch every single game, hours on end for God knows how long. I mean, why? You can train a chimpanzee to play the game that way. And until we, 1, realize that some of us aren't good as we think we are, and 2, have some logical educated, constructive, not just feedback, but solutions, we're always going to be chasing our tail, you know, and it's sad because at release we were right there. We were right there. You know, outside of things that bothered me, like playbooks and route spacing and stuff like that I gripe about, but we were so close we could taste it, and now we're right back to, like Azure said, Madden 16.5, and it's just disgusting. It doesn't, because it didn't have to be this way, and it's just sad.
You know, let me ask you something, Kia, before you jump off. What if they did have more robust sliders like they do in NHL, and they had a mode that was more like a simulation kind of setting, like how it was when we were playing the beta and when the game initially launched, where we can make the game tougher based off of that. So when they do a tuner update, we have an option like in NHL. We don't have to use that tuner. Play it on that true, we can play that true football experience versus, and everybody else can play the more tuned down game at that point based off of their complaints. Like, what do you think about doing something like that?
The problem I have with that is that you have to have the base stabilized first. MLB The Show is the perfect example of this. That game's core is so sound that they can tack on options. They can tack on little bells and whistles for guys to either toggle on or off, and it doesn't screw with the core. What we have this core, and then, as using Sim's example, they dial this, they dial that, and next thing you know, you're playing a vastly different game. So until we can get it stabilized where, when we have changes, when we have patches and tuners, that we're not dealing with a wildly different experience, that's all moot. We have to have, stable footing first, and then you can add that on. I don't want anything of that nature happening until we get to the point where the devs take a firm stand of, this is the game's foundation. It's not changing. Adapt to it or lose games. Until we get that, all that's a moot.
I agree with that. But see, that's what I'm saying, like the NHL side of it, because you have those settings. Like you have your, arcade. You have your arcade, you have a default, and you even have a hardcore setting in that you can pick outside of sliders and tuners. So yeah, getting the core right is key. But what I'm saying is, the way Madden 17 was, just basically saying the way that Madden 17 was before all this stuff, we were good with it. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the best. There's still things that had issues, but it was solid out the gate. And what I'm saying is, having those options, do your work going into 18, but have those settings and options on the front end, so when people can't handle it, they can whine and complain, but then we all don't have to take that hit. And now we're talking about, we're playing Madden 16 with this, or we're playing Madden 15 with XYZ done to it. Like it's a straight up, okay, it's nerf tuned down, whatever, but those guys have their game over there, and we got ours over here in the same package. See what I'm saying? Even if the core isn't necessarily 110% tight, where everything needs to be at, but you still have it stable enough to put in those options though. And because the options like that, I feel, would go a mighty long way, because we could essentially put the game back to where we had it, regardless of these tuning updates. And people could do their thing, and they can say, "Oh, I'm okay with it." But then we could go ahead and we got the game that we were tight with already, and all we got to do is make some setting adjustments, and we're good. And then say, "Okay, now this is what you need to do for Madden 18. Is this, that, and the third. Expand on these settings you got, if anything, but this is the core right here. Keep building on it. That's essentially what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I wouldn't mind that, but it all begins with them saying, this is our vision for this game. And then from that's the starting point. We can't be having all of these, dial this down, dial this up. Okay, we dial it up too much, let's dial it back down, and yo-yoing like that. That's what causes problems. Someone in the chat mentioned, so the game doesn't have a real foundation. It does, but they keep on jacking with it. That it looks like one of those EKG charts that are sharp up and down, up and down, up and down. It's tuned all over the place. And another thing that I find odd is that I'm convinced that these modes aren't all set the same under the hood. Because if you go to practice mode and you try to lab some of these blitzes that people come up with and how to protect them, they get blocked in practice mode. But then you go online and you gotta, block dang near everyone to pick up a simple, 3-man overload. But in practice mode, it's not like that. You play draft champions, and draft champions feels weird. Then you play MUT salary cap. It feels different from what draft champions felt like. And you play regular MUT, and regular MUT feels different than salary cap. I'll tell you this: in regular MUT, the defensive linemen, they do their thing. But then you go to MUT salary cap, and Lawrence Taylor is getting blocked by silver and bronze offensive linemen. It's just really puzzling. I wish we knew, what is affecting certain outcomes in the game.
Great point. Great point. And I know some of you guys are laughing at me right now. I'm having too much fun with this stuff here. Just playing with the effects. But yeah, man, and Kia, you're welcome to stay on. Let me say this real quick. Looking at the time, it's obvious we're not going to get to all the topics, but I want to address a couple of them. Excuse me. Obviously, things like the dime and the dollar stopping the run, I think you can incorporate that in what we were just saying. The sim side of things just doesn't seem to be there. Kia just addressed it perfect. You can't really deploy a real world defense at all times and even have a real plan because the game is just not at that level yet. So I wouldn't say that is detracting from the direction. It's just not there yet. I think we all can agree to that. Some of the other things here real quick. The out-of-the-box organic feel versus the current product. I think Kia and Azure and Smitty, we've all kind of covered that. And I'm trying to condense some of these guys because I have two that I definitely want to hit. And, if Kia wants to stay on, I would love to hear his opinion as well. Let's talk about the esports popularity. I want to address that real quick. I know we've talked about that before. Here's my quick opinion on it. I feel the same way I felt when we first said that it would help change the direction. I still think that is the case. Reason being, more glitches will start to show itself on the big screen. Nobody wants that. I thought it was a good step when Rex and them put in the patch right before the Madden Challenge. Ironically, the patches they put in kind of went against what some of the tourney guys were doing. It affected some of those guys. I thought that was a great step. However, I have to agree with Kia because y'all have heard me say this 100 times. Stop turning the dial. You're not going to please everybody. You already know that. So if it was me, if it was my game, my baby that I've worked on all of this time, when that last week comes and we have to decide on this is how we're going to release it, that's it. We feel comfortable with this. That's what we're going with. Now, patches are a different thing. And let's make sure everyone who's watching this, tonight or will see the show later on understands what we mean. We're not talking about patches. You need patches for things that are broken, things of that nature. NY Kia, again, another person who's great with finding all of the problems and giving stern, critical feedback like ourselves, never disrespectful. Because he just told you, I'm so glad he said that, because, you know, sometimes when I say this stuff, y'all just roll your eyes at me like, oh, that's just Sim being Sim. Oh, he's just, you know, he's in EA's pocket. Blah. Whatever. But you just heard him say the same thing. Ain't nobody going to listen to the nonsense. But we have to be, how many times have I told y'all, we got to be louder. We have to stop complaining about the obvious flaw that, like he said, happens every now and then. Every single game has flaws. Let's start focusing on, okay, it was a positive thing. 17 came up. We all was like, yo, we in the house right now. This game is looking good. Fix a few things here, add some things next year and the year after. But we in a good place. So the beef should have been keeping it or getting it back to where it needs to be. So the beef going forward needs to be tuners. Let us, because think about it. These conversations really didn't happen until we all started having to deal with these tuners. We weren't saying this when the game first released. We would just basically talk about what it needs to also do down the road. So now that needs to be the fight. We got to have tuners to keep what we like to play intact. Definitely got to do that. But I'll throw it to, let me see. Okay, well, Kia's not here anymore, so we definitely appreciate you coming, Kia. I'll throw it to Smitty and Azure. As far as the esports thing, man, I still feel the same way, guys. I think that it is going to help to get a better product. I will say this again. When Rex and Clint or whoever else speaks and they tell you what their vision is for the game, it is absolutely true. Because when we go there for the first time, like when the first time in a year, when we see the upcoming product, we get this long presentation and they have these pillars and things of what they want to hit. The focus, trust me, Rex wants simulation football. We have to keep reminding you guys, it's not always the developers. It's not always the developers. It ain't even the developers who feel like they need to change stuff during the year. It ain't always coming from them. Because like I said, they felt good about a product when they released it. But we need to make sure whoever it is that's seeing all of this feedback, that we're pushing that feedback in the right direction so they can understand, stop doing that. Stop. You cannot please people by tuning up, tuning down. It's just like if you was in the car with 5 people and y'all got the radio on. Chances are one person going to think it's too loud, one person think it's too low, and it might be another person who think it's just right. Can't please everybody. Just let it be what it's going to be. Give us the tuners and everybody's happy, and then continue to progress your game. But what you think, Smitty? The popularity of the esports deal, is that going to affect the direction of the game positively or negatively? Yo, Smitty.
And for tournament scene, it'll be positive. Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay, there you go. I was just saying that the tournament scene, they'll be good with it. You know, it'll be all right. Of us that care about, you know, the overall game or what have you. I mean, I don't think it's gonna hurt as far as any development or what have you. I don't think it's gonna take any steps backwards or, you know, in that regard. But what I do think would be a problem is that, once again, talking about people who want the game to be patched, nerfed, things tuned down, stuff like that. That's why we need to have simulation mode. We need to have those kind of settings in the game. We have to have that. You know what I'm saying? It's a must. Got to do it. That way, give us the options. Just like people, that's why I say having the whole simulation mode thing in there. People, you know, like what AZ separate games. This is essentially doing that. And setting criteria, you know what I'm saying, as well. So it's stuff that needs to happen. You need to have that stuff happening in the game, man. You know what I mean? Like, we need to have the, you know, these various options in our game so then we can customize and tailor the experience the way we want to. I know some people in the chat here don't care about hearing that, but that's essentially what you got to do, because all these other sports games do it. So I don't understand why Madden would be the exception to the rule. You know what I mean? I know that some folk act like Madden is the ultimate exception to all the rules and everybody else is doing everything. But no, if you pay attention to all these crowds, you see that the displeasure that happens with Madden is also with these other titles too. So it's not just in one spot. No, it spans across. So, but no, that's pretty much what I got, in that regard. So I'll throw it to AZ.
Yeah, and I think it would be positive just because of what's already been said, that how Sim said flaws will come up, and Rex and them, they don't want those flaws to be seen on a major scale like that, just like NBA 2K didn't want theirs. So to me, that means you got to get in the lab to fix it right and make sure that that stuff doesn't come out. And to me, that means better gameplay. So, we'll see what develops from it, but I don't think it can be. The only way it's negative is just how people play the game. Sorry.
Yeah, man.
That's all it boils down to anyway, is how people play the game. Like we said, if you send me a fishbowl, you pretty much don't have a problem with the game. That's all it is, besides problems, but it boils down to how people play the game too.
Absolutely, man. And we have a guest on the show, guys, and before I bring him in, I just wanted to comment real quick on something in the comments, and this is something that I've talked about for years, and it's just I don't understand still how some people blame EA solely for killing 2K. Come on, man. You just got to use your head. EA Sports cannot kill another product unless the person who holds the right allows it. There's no way that EA Sports could have killed NFL 2K without the NFL. The real story is, which I know to be fact, I've heard this from actual people. The real story is, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not. I'm not going to say where I got it from. The NFL did not like the fact that 2K released NFL 2K5 for $19.99. That pissed off the NFL. There's no coincidence. It's not just a coincidence that the very next year was when the license was taken away. When arguably a lot of people could have said that even back then, let's be honest, some of you guys, including me, won't even comparing the games back then the way we are now. There wasn't a whole lot of people that was just saying, it's so much more simulated. No. Let's get this straight. Madden 05 was a legit product. The thing that caught my eye about 2K was graphics, and the game played fairly well. It played, get this, as good as I thought Madden played. The funny thing is, I went back to Madden 05 because I didn't like the player movement in 2K, which is something that we talk about nowadays that we need Madden to get better at. So my point is, that's what happened. That was what happened. And the NFL offered the license up. 2K had the biggest you-know-what in the room. Some of you guys know the slang I'm trying to use there. Hold on, man. And that's what happened. Because if it was you versus another company, what would you have done? Would you just sit back and let them get it? Or are you going to go get it? So my point is, I'm not trying to make an excuse for EA. That's the reason why I sit here on this show along with y'all and we criticize the stuff they've done. But I'm a facts person. It's just like I said, I don't want this movement. I don't want our community to be saying stuff that's erroneous or just having these crazy opinions when there are facts to a lot of these things, a lot of which they're facts that we know. So that's what I'm saying. Like all of that rhetoric it's really not. It's not even necessary because that ain't even what happened. Truth of the matter is, regardless of the case, let's say if EA muscled 2K, even if you believe that, guess who had to agree with it? The NFL. Guess who was the one that's holding the license? The NFL. So let's use this energy and go after the NFL. But the scapegoat is EA. That's easy. Let's try to go get the NFL to let the license come up if we really want competition. Hold on. All right. So anyway, man, I just had to say that, man. Like I said, I want us to be an intelligent movement, very intelligent and very factual, because it's hard to deny people with facts. Well, let's get in our caller, man. I appreciate you holding in there, man. Whatever you got for us, floor is yours, man. Let us know what you got for us today.
Fellas, what's happening, man?
What up, man?
Oh, what up?
What's up?
I ain't called in a while, but I wanted to touch on that GM subject. I'm sorry, not GM, CFM. I was watching my man K Spade the Prospect. He put up some NCAA footage, and they were auto-generated players or whatever. And when I seen his linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, his linebacker had a star underneath his feet. And he was that defense's rally guy. You understand what I'm saying? That was the guy that you knew on the field was going to make a play. And I said to myself, damn, that take me back to NCAA 06 or 07, if I'm not mistaken, when they had impact players. You know what I'm saying? Under your feet, start pulsating. I think that if they go, what y'all was talking about earlier, if they go the NFL head coach route, re-implement that aspect of NCAA into Madden, and just like AZ said, how many Lawrence Taylors you've seen that can fit into any scheme of defense? You don't see those type of players that come around too often. You understand what I'm saying? So to get the game a legitimate feel, I mean, I'm okay with what the game is right now. Is it better than what it came out? No. But at the same time, like we always stress, you can't appeal to everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. But if you put the product out there and implement the things that the core CFM guys want, dynamic weather and player movement and things like that, release that ball tethering, man. I mean, we talking about real football here, and these are things that we constantly touched on. But it just took me back to when NCAA, when you would play that game, you would be like, yo, this has some real elements of impact players. Exactly what it was, impact players. You knew that guy on the defensive end of the ball or on the offensive end of the ball was going to make a play when you needed it. You know what I'm saying? That's how you differentiate these players. And I hate when guys build super teams. And it's like, come on, man. Like, all right, we all know it's a video game, but come on, dog. Like, you build a powerhouse and you just smacking cats. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas putting, excuse my language, cats putting J.J. Watt and linebacker and all this so crazy nonsense. Like, man, like it's crazy, man. Like I said, I just want the game to be in a better. I think the game should be perceived in a better light because, like you said, when that boy Ian Cummins was over here, man, he wasn't doing nothing. Them cats wasn't responding to nobody. You couldn't even find them. So I mean, I like I said, man, I just appreciate the fact that Rex and those guys, man, they communicating and guys, man, and what you said earlier about what somebody said about Rex kids, like, come on, dog, like it's
ridiculous.
A whole lot of other stuff going on in the world, man. You tripping over a developer in a video game, like, come on, man, like. Grow up, man. Seriously, man. Grow up, man. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you know, as the community, I want to apologize. And I feel like, you understand? I want to apologize to Rex. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my father dealt with cancer, man. That's no joke, man. You don't wish that on nobody, man. You feel me? So, like I said, man, y'all have a good one, man. Y'all continue to do what y'all do, man. I look forward to y'all every week, man. You know what I'm saying? So y'all just keep doing what y'all doing. And AZ, congrats on number 3, man. You know what I'm saying? Real rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done, y'all. I'm out of here.
All right, man.
I had to run real quick to my little man had to go to the bathroom, and you fathers know how that is with a 3-year-old. But yeah, man, great points. I mean, great points. And like I said, man, I'm not going to sit here and end it with disputing what EA did and what 2K didn't do. Like I said, man, the bottom line is we fighting the wrong battles. Like, what's the point of saying all that now? Umpteen years later, hey, stop. What's the point of saying that now? It don't mean nothing. I mean, some people might not get this analogy because I don't know how everybody grew up, but most of you guys saw American Gangster, maybe. But, you know, with Denzel Washington, Frank Lucas story. Now, why is it that this guy was so successful? Why is it? Stop, Mace. He was so successful because he basically bullied his way into having the quote-unquote best product. Now, I'm not talking about the product aspect because we know EA has room to improve. But what I'm saying is I see people saying that EA approached the NFL and they tried. Even if they did, that's business. Like, even if, let's say EA was scared, right? And they said, we want to get the competition out here. And that's why I'm talking about the Frank Lucas thing, because he was like, I'm going to smash the competition and get him out of here. So just on that principle, let's say EA was a little afraid. Again, they can't do it without the NFL. So you can have your beef with EA and be like, oh, y'all was scared of it. Okay. But in 2017, whose fault is it? Is it the fault of the person who was like, hey, we got some bread, we're trying to get that? Or is it the fault of the person being like, all right, I'll sell it to you? It's the NFL's fault, period. And what y'all don't know, what they don't know, Smitty, which we know, that license has been available again, like 2 or 3 times since then. And other companies had the option to buy in. And guess what? They didn't do it. That's all I'm saying, man. I'm just saying, your boy gonna give you the facts. They've had opportunities and they chose not to. So let's get past 05. Let's get past that. We all know the history with that. I'm just saying, ever since then, even the way I hear it, if somebody was interested right now, they might have a chance at it. I don't know. I'm just saying, man, that argument is so tired and dead. It's like, whatever. But let's hit another topic, man. We already at 10:03. And I know Des definitely wanted to cover this topic, and I think it's a good one. I don't know what's going on with the camera here, guys, so that's why y'all are not seeing me. Oh, there we go. We back. But let's talk about a big ticket item, Smitty and AZ, for 18. And in the chat, I want to see what you guys have to say. And let me preface it with this. We're looking for like one thing. And now this one thing could cover multiple things. But we're really looking for what is something in your eyes that you must see in Madden 18. Like, what is your big ticket piece? I know for me last year, y'all remember, it was, or was it last year or the year before? But at one time, it was DB and Waddle interactions was huge for me. I didn't want to see no synchronized animations. I mean, it's multiple things, but that was one of my biggest. And lo and behold, we got it. So that's what we're saying. What is the one thing? Don't name 100 things because obviously that ain't gonna get done. For me, Smitty and AZ, I think it's got to be. Let me say this, and I know AZ and Smitty gonna feel the same way. These questions are always hard for us because obviously we know future plans for Madden. So we have to look at it from a standpoint of some of the things that we might want, we might know is on the table, but we still don't know at this point what the plan is going to be. We'll soon find out, if that makes sense. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Like, we have because Smitty knows this, Azure knows this. There were things that was supposed to be in 17 that didn't make it. And we found out and was like, oh, man. So even though we're privy to future information, we still don't know what exactly the plan is for that year's game until that first time down, which should be pretty soon. Oh, this is a huge one, guys. For me, man, it's hard for me to say one. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna say two, real quick. Player movement is always, to me, the most paramount. To me, there needs to be some improvement in the way players interact and move. Period. Now, a reason why I say I'm gonna cheat, because part two is interaction. And that, to me, is incorporated with player movement, because player movement, to me, covers your relative position. If the ball is here and I'm here, I'm not going to catch it. That's football. It also means, we're talking about the playoffs coming. A guy like Aaron Rodgers that sometimes has pinpoint accuracy. Ball might be right here. The defender might be right here. Out of bounds is right there. So the ball is either going to be a catch or a drop, because the player relative position in the actual real life movement doesn't allow him to zip to the ball and things like that. So to me, and that incorporates interaction. I don't know. I don't know, guys, what, if any of this I'm sure we'll know soon. And of course, y'all won't know till way later than that. But to me, those are two of the biggest components that dictate everything else. And there's so much other stuff, but player movement and making a player's positioning really matter, where he's at on the field, if he can get to the ball, his proximity, all of that, those interactions. Because think about what that covers. Player movement helps with tackling, whether it's a tackle or a broken tackle. It helps with passing the ball in a location, passing your guy open, and the defender can't warp into him. Player movement, to me, would also be incorporated in getting rid of, if they can, somehow getting rid of the two-man anthems. So now they're not drawn together. So it covers so many areas. But to me, those are my things, man. I got to see one or the other. And if not both or all of the things I want, I'm going to ask those questions. Why didn't this make it? And give you guys those answers. Because, again, I always say, as long as we're progressing, I understand the back end of things. But if it gets to a point where the game is regressing, then I got a problem. But what about you, Smitty, man? Big ticket thing that you're hoping to see in Madden 18.
My bad, I'm here. To me, I was gonna go player movement, but that's your baby. I didn't know if you was gonna hit on it or not. So
Gotta have it.
Yeah, man. So that's also big for me. But if I'm just gonna go one, I'm gonna have to go the trenches, man. I'm so tired. I don't know if I said this the other day on Twitter. I think physics actually hurts them in the trenches, man, because you'll see times where you'll get, a clean shot at somebody, and then your arm gets caught up or something, and then you just go wonky.
Right.
So, I mean, if that's not the answer, I want to see at least 1,000 to 1,500, maybe even 2,000 more animated sequences down there in the trenches, because I want it to be clean. That way, if I win, I win. None of this warping a guy over to block me, or arm getting caught up, or I just magically fall down and collapse. None of that stuff. You know what I mean? And I think they need better controls too. I want to see it go back to the analog stick. I don't want the button press or at least give me the option to go back to the analog stick to where I can do specific moves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I want to swim and rip, let me do a combination of that on the right stick. You know, if I want a bull rush, then do a finesse move, let me do that. Let me control that on the right stick. So it's probably trenches for me. It's so much more that I could say, let me give you a CFM one. Since that one was more gameplay. CFM wise, I gotta have customizable draft classes. And I say that because in our league, those of y'all who don't know, I edited the draft class, and it has been a crazy experience. I mean, it's been dope, honestly, to have the 2017 class already in our game. It took a tremendous amount of work that nobody should have to do. So, I know they have Team Builder with NCAA, and to me, that should be somehow how you can bring about a draft class. Because if you remember, if you went to Team Builder, you could say, okay, this is a powder puff team. And it would give you a generated class or generated teams. It wouldn't be class, a generated team of powder puff players. You might have one good player. Or if you went and say this is a powerhouse team, then you would have way more great players in that file. And I think you could do the same thing, if you were doing draft classes. Say, okay, I want this to be customizable. I want this class to be running back heavy, or I want this class to be pocket passer quarterbacks, and it generate ratings according to that. And then that way we can go in also and change attributes, names, school, all that kind of stuff on a site rather than in the game, because in the game it takes a tremendous amount of time. But I'll pass it to Smitty so I don't take up too much time. But those probably, trenches and draft class.
Let's see. What is it basically like? The question that was asked, Sim, I missed that.
Your big ticket item that you would hope to see in Madden 18.
I would say individuality. In terms of player I was with interactions and tackling, and and secondary coverage. So many times. I mean, you see me pointed out in multiple live streams and videos. I've sent dev team multiple videos about it as well. How you have the, players are able to suction into position when you clearly get a beat on them, even if it's just a step. If you create that separation because your receiver runs a better route versus how the DB reacts to it, then that's it. He's beat. It shouldn't be, but the problem is with Madden is that when you throw the ball and the way it pass still feels tethered to the routes, actioned on. You know what I'm saying? Either you'll get slowed down as a wide receiver, or all of a sudden that defender will be able to catch up and make a play on it accordingly when they shouldn't. But because they're somewhat in the vicinity, they're gonna force it. Need that to go away and just have it be organic all around the board, all the way. Make it organic. Have that organic nature done to, directly applied to the ball, to the ball physics separate from the player, and then also do the exact same thing for wideouts and DBs in the secondary. I said, getting rid of the scripted sequencing, creating that separation accordingly. Those are going to be the huge things for me. Yeah. Because, I got to disagree. One thing, though, I got to disagree with AZ on having the trenches just be a bunch of scripted animations, because eventually that's, excuse me, eventually that's going to wear its course. That's going to run its course because all those animations are scripted and everything else. Like, it's full on scripted, and that's it. Now we can lean on APF and look at that and say, hey, well, they seem to do pretty good. I would just say that, like I said, the problem with the way the movement, the way the trench is, and I understand what you're saying about the trench. There'd be like how it is in FIFA, where when players interact with each other, yeah, you have some moments where it looks a bit funky with the physics and everything. You see that, but most part, when I'm playing a game, it's a legitimate experience, even with those physics in there. So I would love to see that kind of interactivity where they have it, like they're building it up toward that, but I don't want to see them build up toward that all of a sudden just scrap it.
Yeah,
Be my big deal. So
I feel you, and let me add on to this: the passing game as well.
yes,
Tethered animations and not being able to put ball placement where you want to, and let the outcome just be organic or be as it may. That's another huge thing that I've been talking about probably for about 3 years that I want to see in 18.
okay.
Yeah,
Back to you, man.
Yeah, man. All of that stuff, man, is incorporated, and it's interesting because I'm looking at the chat, and I see a lot of different comments. It's funny how you see a lot of different things. Certain things aren't as important to everybody, and I'm not going to say important, but the same things don't come to mind first to everybody. Everyone has their own view of things, and that's important because I've literally had people tell me, man, Madden 17 would be great only if it had X. Excuse me. And some of these things ain't even gameplay. So to see that we all have different opinions, most of us here agree, but just to see that we have different opinions is the fact why, again, it just proves why you need options in games, period. Because, and that's why I don't engage in, and just to let you guys know, I'm just killing a little bit of time here. I've invited another caller. We'll let him end the show. That'll be it, whatever he has to add. But that's why I don't get into these conversations and engage and beef and because it's like it's your opinion versus my opinion and his opinion versus his opinion. I think it's clear some of the main things that we all want, we agree on. But a lot of people would say that Madden 17 was in a good position before the patches and all, and the tuners, where you still have some people who feel like, oh, the game just sucks. Like a guy here in the chat just said it's a subpar product. I can't disagree with your opinion, but that's your opinion. I don't necessarily feel like where Madden 17 was, not even that. I'll say where it is right now. I'll say this, and then I'll throw it to Zulu, who's here on the call, and then we'll end it with his, his commentary. I will even go as far as saying this. I don't even think right now that Madden 17 is just a subpar product. Let me explain why. All it needs is a few adjustments. Think about the stuff we always talk about. If you get it to the point where the animation interaction is like FIFA, right? That takes care of player position and warping and all of that. If you at least get it to where FIFA is at. Adding to what Azure said, the problem with the physics in the trenches is the fact that the real physics in the trenches don't work, meaning that my physics against your physics is going to dictate the outcome. That don't exist. What Azure is saying is that because only body physics exists as far as collision, then a lot of times you get situations and then you get hung up just because it only has body contact collision. But imagine if they could figure out whatever they do with tackling, because we all can probably agree. I actually got the video. I might even show you guys tonight. we can all agree the most dynamic part of Madden is tackling. If they could get that type of physical interaction across the board, there you go. Got a game. You see what I'm saying? Then you add the sprinkles. Once you get all that together, player movement is more realistic. But what I'm saying is the definition of subpar could go either way. Subpar to me would be like, to me, that's a game that I just can't play. I don't feel that way about Madden 17. I play Madden 17 seeing the potential. I've been saying that since probably Madden 15. It's trending up. But you will have some who just feel like the game is trash, and that's cool. Like, I'm not going to argue that point. I'm just saying there's no point of keep having these debates with people. You're going to have your opinion. They're going to have theirs. That's just it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't debate. I'm talking about forceful, opinionated debates like, nah, think about you and your homeboy. I throw y'all a quick analogy, then I throw it to Zulu. Y'all out somewhere, and we all men here. We like to talk about women every now and then. Y'all in the club or something, your boy like, yo, shorty, bad. You like, nah, I ain't really feeling her. And there's nothing that your boy gonna say that's gonna make you think this chick is bad. And it ain't nothing that you gonna say that gonna make your boy think she ain't bad. You see what I'm saying? It's a pointless argument. Because your boy say, yo, that chick is dope. I'm trying to get with short. You, on the other hand, like, nah, man, it ain't my flavor. And that's all I'm saying, man. Like, we got to get more conversational in this community instead of so much combat. It's too much combat going on. We don't have, I say we because you got to include us all. But as a whole, we don't have enough dialogue. It's always, oh, well, you said this, you said it, oh, well, you suck, and that's your... Come on, man. I need us to kill that. Let's just have real debates. But anyway, man, welcome, Zulu, man. We're going to let you wrap us up, man. Whatever you got for us tonight, feel free.
How y'all doing?
Oh, yo.
Yeah, we good.
I'm good.
I might get in trouble if I respond to what y'all were talking about. There are people, but there's some too much truth in what you just said. So
it's real, man. That's real, dog.
I'll stick with football. Y'all started off the show, and I guess this is kind of related too. I was having a Heartbreak Hotel moment, but we were having civil discourse about the Raiders, Houston, Steelers, Miami, Lions, Seahawks, right? And we weren't talking about that one route that nobody can. No, we were talking football. We were talking about, can Khalil Mack carry a rookie quarterback to an NFL record, right? Rookie quarterback, first start, then he gets his first win. I'm heartbroken. I know it's not likely. I'm a pragmatist at heart. We're talking about matchups. We're talking about schemes. I don't know who somebody talked about tight end, their squad couldn't cover the tight end. I think you were talking about how Steelers had a hard time stopping the run.
Yeah,
that's football talk. That's the kind of talk I want to talk about when we're playing Madden and we're talking about Madden. And so we get to this point, and this goes back to this is all relevant to the big ticket item. And I do agree that player movement is like the game doesn't look as pretty as it should. And Rex has said that too. I peep his videos whenever he pops up. He said that's the one thing that kind of bothers him. And that's something he can own, that he can talk to the marketing team about, talk to the suits who press the green button or the red button about whether or not something gets approved or something gets rejected. If Rex is listening, I would say you could broaden the idea of player movement and talk about user play. Marketing teams should be competent enough to make money off of saying you become Khalil Mack, you become Le'Veon Bell, you become what's my man's name in Detroit, the big time quarterback. I used to live out there, so it's a shame I can't remember his name. But Matthew Stafford, you become Matthew Stafford. Like, you can market that idea and improve the trenches and improve tackling and give people a sense of ownership once they realize, oh, if I play safety now, that I'm replacing the AI's awareness, and now I get to become that safety every time we play. If you enhance the game on the back end and don't tell nobody, because I guess the people in suits, take issue when you talk about fixing the game or enhancing the game. You could just sell the doggone game, Madden 18, off the idea that you have total control. You have a presence on the field. This is your game. You play it your way. Boom. I just sold it. Here's the handoff. You can do that. Now, with that said, there are, and I'm going to add, this is the part of where y'all were critiquing the doggone game. One way that Rex can evaluate the game overall is if he gives y'all, because I think you said, y'all were beta players at one time. If he gives y'all a version of the game that has no hot routes, you'd then be able to evaluate the defensive playbooks, the offensive playbooks. You'd be able to figure out whether or not the current stunts or whatever you want to call those little wiggly lines for the defensive line, whether they even work, or do you have to have crashing and spreading and pinching? You will be able to evaluate the game if you entrust our Sim Standard homies, give these brothers a game that is just kind of bare bones. Because right now, I understand Rex's conundrum, right? He's trying to build a game while also trying to fix a game. He's got PS2 and PS3 technology in a game that's running on a PS4. I get it. But he got to go all the way. He got to make us feel a little bit uncomfortable. NY Kill was talking about this earlier, and I was at the grocery store, so I didn't catch all of it. But, most of us don't know football. So we can't contribute in that way, but we do know that when something just isn't right, when something doesn't make sense, and we're old enough to either have played ball in high school or played in college, we know just something's a little bit off. We trust, at least I do, and I've heard people before people started getting rude, we trust Rex. I can't say I have confidence in EA. I trust Rex. Rex needs to have a little bit of faith in us. He needs to somehow figure out a way to manipulate them folks in the suits and the ties to sell something that's a fix as a marketing tool. If he can just show us that we're not always going to take baby steps, it's going to be Madden, 25 all over again before we get a decent game at this rate. And some folks are vindictive enough to run down a good game. You can't have baby steps. At some point, you're going to have to take that giant leap of faith and believe that you can either, and I think y'all talked about this earlier, that you're either going to be able to bring in a new generation that you can trust, that you can educate, who won't be relying on ebooks and silly little things like that, and that you can groom a new generation. You have to have faith in us. You have to believe that that the hardcore community will stick around in order for you to make major shakeups in the game, because these little baby steps ain't gonna work. And I know Rex he's torn, as you would say, by two masters, but he's got to figure out a way to manipulate those suits, because there are answers, and there's also problems. And one of the problems you're gonna have is consumer confidence if he continues on this path. We saw how good the game was when the game dropped. I love that game. I said to myself, "Oh my God, I have to learn run fits. I have to learn something." I haven't felt that way in a long time. Well, now I don't even pay attention. I mean, real talk, I don't pay attention to run fits no more. All people I play now, they're using dime and dollar to stop the run, and that means also that becomes their base defense, right? So Rex, he's got to believe in his vision. He's got to figure out a way to use the available technology in order to manipulate the marketing team. Tell the marketing team, hey, this is a great moment. We can all become Khalil Mack and sell that so that people aren't afraid of taking a sack or taking a strip sack fumble or getting hit in the backfield on a run play. But Rex, you got to make up your mind, man, because at some point, even your diehard supporters will kind of start to waver. It'll be like politics, right? When you got people who are behind a certain banner. And at some point, when you start breaking too many promises, or you start going right when you're supposed to go left, or going left when you're supposed to go right, even your diehard people kind of lose their enthusiasm. Right now, we're full bore. I can't wait to start hearing news about 18. This is one of the reasons why I called into the show tonight, because 18 to me is 17, man, I got to be real. I think it's just a lost cause. 18, though, We got to get on Rex right now. We NY Kia, everybody, we got to get on Rex right now. And we got to support him. It's not about hollering at him. We got to holler at him with support. Talk about go all the way. We can't have baby steps anymore if you want us to keep full support of your product. Right now is the perfect time for us to be talking about this stuff. And I think that if we can just get in line with his doggone vision, we then just have to look to him and say, all right, you got everybody lined up. It's time to go. That's my 10 cents.
Great
So what I gotta say about that. We had to throw the applause in there, guys. I meant to do that also when NY Kia was on. So let's give him one. As y'all can see, I got new toys to play with now. I know y'all like my shades. Hold on real quick. All right. Great call. A perfect way to end it. What I love about the call is not that it was informative, because he does that every time. Zulu, Kia, when 757 is on, I'm about to say NY Kia again, Neff One, all of these guys, man, DJ, most of you guys who've come on the show. But I love when you guys say some of the similar things that myself has said, Azure or Smitty, because then people can't rely on this right here. Let me show you what they rely on real quick. This is what they usually call me. That's what they call me. I'm a clown. I'm an EA clown. I'm a bozo. But you can't say that about me, even though I'm trying to fix the hair there. You can't say that about me when you got other people saying the same thing. These guys are consumers. And I wanted to say this too, y'all, because I meant to say this earlier. Somebody in the chat said that they need to listen to NY Kid. What y'all don't know is NY Kid has a very good relationship with Rex and Clint. Talks to them all the time offline. They listen to him very well. But you know why? It's because he has a constructive, professional, and stern at times feedback. They respect that. They respect you telling them like it is in the right way. That's why we're always promoting, we got to get on them, just like my man Zulu just said. We, as in everybody, not just us, y'all need to get at them and let them know what y'all like, what you don't like, but in a constructive manner. The complaining is not going to get anywhere. And that's just how you choose to do it, fine. I mean, go ahead. Cry over spoiled milk, man. Spilled milk, I guess what they say. Fine. But I don't get it. It's not going to get anywhere. And like I said, if you're just a complainer of Madden, why are you even still involved? What's the point? We need to be a powerful unit that's trying to make change and don't settle for nonsense. That's where the sternness comes in. But we don't need to be the crowd that's just a lot of distractions. And like NY Kia said, and I know this to be fact, sometimes certain guys say stuff and they be like, man, why are we even listening? Y'all even seen Clint. Think about it. You've seen Clint with those tweets. Sometimes I don't know what you guys want. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of people out here who are sim representatives that makes it look like it's lumping the whole community together. This is what I'm saying. But that's just my two cents, man. We can go ahead and sign off with that. I'll let Smitty and AZ have you guys closing remarks. What you got for us, Smitty?
Pretty much from what, like you were saying about Zulu, what I'm saying? He was on point with what he said. But the main takeaway is that we've all said this multiple. I mean, we said this plenty of times before. When it comes to feedbacking and stuff like that, you got to come correct with it. You got to come proper with it when you're addressing these devs, especially if you want these guys to actually pay attention to you. That's what you must do. And what NY Kia said is the same thing we got to do when it comes to this game going forward. If you want guys to back what you're saying and back and push these devs, it shouldn't just be these tournament crowds that are pushing them to make change. You got to actually step up to the plate and start saying something to these cats about the game. Talk to them about these things. You know what I'm saying? But people don't do that. You know what I'm saying? People don't do that. They just mainly complain and say how, Madden sucks. They don't know how to make a game. 2K needs to make a game, blase split. And it's like, that's not doing anything. As we've clearly seen since, I don't know what, calendar year 2010, that doesn't do anything. It does nothing. So you got to change up your act. You know what I'm saying? And be constructive and let them know what needs to be done. Let them push it constructively. And everybody's not gonna like Sim said once again, I'll throw it to AZ. Everybody's not gonna like the game. That's not what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about, this 100% approval rating of it. But what I'm talking about is people that do care about the game, that are concerned about the game. You don't need to just be coming to these hangouts and getting at us and voicing it all in here. Why don't you go on Twitter, go on ahead and voice it where it truly is going to matter, in the direction of the dev team. That's what I would be doing. I'm gonna go to the people that get to the attention, so I can make my impact and make my voice truly be heard. I'm not just gonna stop on somebody's video and that's it. But that's essentially what needs to be done. You got to step forth with taking that action. But as we've historically seen, when it comes time to people to take that action, they co-sign with you until it's time to actually get out the streets and march. And then all of a sudden, they go right back inside the crib. So that's all I'm saying. That's just the way it is, but it sucks. But I know that myself, Sim, AZ, steadily going to be pushing, NY Kia and others like-minded like that. We're always going to continue to push, make the tweets and post the vids and do things like that going forward. So, but I'll throw it to you. AZ.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to 18. I think we made progress as a community to get where we are now. And although we didn't like the outcome of what happened to the game throughout the year, that first taste of at launch should give us hope. Now, I can't lie. I am tired of going through the cycle of, oh, man, I can't wait till the community tries this. They try it. The community gets it, loves it, and then it gets watered down. I am tired of that because to me, it's been going on since Madden 25. And to me, you have to just, if it's a football thing, you have to let it stay there and let people adjust to it. Madden was developed to be a teaching tool. Teach people. Let's continue to teach people how to get better at the game through the game. Don't, make it easier for them. Because all it does is create bad players with bad habits. And that filters up and makes it the game to where we are now. To where I feel like, we take 2 steps forward, then we take 3 steps back. So I'm looking forward to 18 because to me, this is a monumental game this year, especially if they've been doing what we think they've been doing. It's monumental because all 3 of us on this panel love what FIFA has done, love what NHL has settings-wise. So to me, if you're on the same engine where you can just take stuff and share it cross game, then I'm looking forward to it. But we all know it's going to be some stuff that doesn't work. So I'm looking forward to see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, man. And before we get out of here, that's an interesting topic there. I'll say this. I'm gonna wait to see until we know. Whatever the case is going to be. I mean, of course, when we know something, y'all won't know it then. But what I mean is, I'll preface it with this. If that is the case, I hope so, man. I hope what we read last year from Patrick Sutherland is the truth. And, I mean, every EA Sports game comes out this year. I was about to say next year, but I'm forgetting we're in 2017 now. Each game, I would love to see that Madden and Live and NHL. I mean, that's what they did. They've been trying. I would love to see that. But here's the thing. What does that mean? What does that mean? FIFA, if you really think about it, and a lot of you people who are FIFA heads know I'm not lying. It's the same game. FIFA was already where it was at before making the jump. So that indicates I have so many questions with that, man. And the day that's the case, whether it's next year or maybe it's Madden 19 or whatever, because obviously, that's what these executives are saying. That's what they want. So whenever that time comes for a game like Madden, I got a different set of interesting questions, because just thinking about the past and thinking about things that how I've seen things go with FIFA, and it's an interesting topic, very interesting. So it would be wonderful if that's the case, and then that'll give us so much to talk about when EA news comes out. If not, then we'll continue to talk about what we've been talking about. So I'm just saying, man, that would be great, and that's going to present a whole nother challenge of questions, especially a game like, imagine if Live comes back and it's on a new engine. That would be something. So I don't know, man. We'll see what the future holds, but either way, I think this was a great call. We're going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep saying to you guys, be the voice. Be a part of the voice. Our community, I hate saying that word because the sim community has got so out of whack, but this movement that we got going on is very strong, but it'll be so much stronger when we are all, delivering our thoughts and our critical feedback and constructive feedback and things of that nature. But that's all I'm going to leave you guys with right now. We've gone way over time, but it is what it is. We'll see you guys next week, man. Watch some football. For you guys who still have a horse in the race, I hope your team wins, except a Miami Dolphin fan. I can't really wish you no success. Sorry about that. But I hope your teams win. And we'll talk about those games as well as the upcoming games next week and any other topics that you guys want us to cover. All right, that's it. See you next week. Peace.